Happy Flosstube Friday, friends. My name is Kari. This is Tiger Lily Designs. Welcome to Flosstube episode number 105. Yay, welcome. If it's your first time here, thanks so much for checking me out and stopping by. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks so much for coming back. So a little bit of spoiler, a little bit of truth. It's actually Saturday, but Flosstube Saturday doesn't have quite the same ring to it as Flosstube Friday. Friday got away from me. We were super busy doing yard work. I'll tell you a little bit of story at the end, but we're just going to dive right into the fun. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. Today I've got all the things, really. I've got some cross stitching, Flosstube. Yes, that makes sense. I've got some knitting. I've got a finish to share with you. I've also got some details on some quilting. So we're going to go in 3 different making genres. Hopefully lickety split, not too long. I also have some fabulous things that arrived at the mail, so I want to share that with you. I had a little bit of patterns and stuff, so let's just dive right into the fun because it's all over the table and we're just going to dive into it. So first, let's do some stitching because it's Flosstube, so I feel like you have to do that first, right? So I've got this bag. This is my herringbone project bag. Unfortunately, I do have one stitching, but this is the stitch that I stitched on most. If I was stitching this week, this is what I was working on. I'm certainly going for a finish. I've got a couple days. It is only June, I don't know, 29th, 30th, something like that. It's not July 4th yet, is the moral of the story. Although Mount Vernon last night had fireworks galore. It was bonkers. And the reason I know is because my dog Dabo hates the fireworks. And so he told us. I mean, we knew. But anyhow, so it's almost time. But this is what I was working on. And I really, really, really want to finish before July 4th. I mean, I won't put it away. I'm one of those display patriotic for the whole summer. That's my summer decor, if I do it. But anywho, this is where I've gotten. I made a lot of progress since last time I showed it to you. Just in case you're like, what in the world is that? Really? This is the Plum Street Samplers Blueskin. This is not the new one. Remember, there's a new one that came out at market. It's called Nelson. That's what I want to do on my list too. But first I felt, and I got a needle right there in the middle. So there we go. I am almost to the point. I'm filling in some cherries. I did a custom conversion. So in case you're looking at this and you're like, wow, that doesn't look like the cover. No, it doesn't. I brightened things up a lot. Like the cherries are actually, it's called Grandma Fern's Spool of Thread. I think it was a custom color I did with Forbidden Fiber Co. last for the July box. Keeper box last July. And so I'm filling in the cherries. So I've got cherry fill in. I have to do a little more of his hat. Oh, there's a cherry down there. Don't let me forget it. Okay. And then this will be done. So maybe a couple nights of stitching and this would have gotten done. And it's easy. It's to the fill-in point, which is fantastic. So that is the one stitching that I worked on. I actually have another stitching, but it's kind of linked to my Patreon. So I'm going to talk about that a little later. So we're going to just keep on diving into what we've got. So let's just talk about, since we're staying in the genre of stitching, I did get a fantastic package from Fat Quarter Shop this week, and I wanted to share some with you. I am going to go ahead and just throw these into the giveaway pile to save for later. July is going to be bonkers. I'll do a little bit of a personal update type of plans, things at the end, just in case that's not your jam. But so these aren't going to be giveaways for today. They are going to be giveaways coming soon, though. I'm hoping. I mean, my 3-year. Wow. Has it been 3 years? My Flosstube anniversary is in August sometime. I'm not quite sure exactly when. Doesn't really matter. August-ish. And that's going to be a big one for me. I think it's 3 years. Because I feel like last year was 2 years. So that makes sense. We'll see. Anyway, big deal. August, I'll have a party. Confetti cannons. I love a good confetti cannon party with tons and tons of giveaways. So these are just going to be added to that. But I wanted to show it to you now, just in case you need to go and grab it and add it to your stash. Now I have to get my glasses up because I can't read without them. Sorry if the glare from my windows gets you. But I got to be able to read it, right? So this is a sweet, like I said, these are all from Fat Quarter Shop. They're super great. There's a mix of stitching and quilting and all the things. So this is part of their Shelf Life series. It's called Mayflowers. Look how sweet that is. I just love I love the jar, but I would probably just do the flowers all together, like take them out and just stitch those little petals. Oh, so sweet. Let me see. Is there any more stitching? There is more stitching. We'll do a little stitching first, and then because Fat Quarter Shop is great for both cross stitching and quilting. So this is a sweet, look at this, Bunny's Bakery. Oh my goodness, how adorable is that? Add that to your stash to get set for next Easter and springtime. Oh, look at this sweet little carrot cake, adorable. And then, oh, this one's adorable. I feel like this is like a new series, which I am here for. I love the home. It's mini simple signs. And it's 56 by 140. So it should be totally doable. They finished it using a Hobby Lobby board. So that's super fun. And they give you all the details on the back, which is great. So sweet. I think that's like a couple in the series. I don't know if they're all the same size. That would be fun. You could do one of those magnet boardy switchy things. It's on my list. Haven't done it yet. All right, and then they sent me some quilt patterns, which is super fun. These are super sweet. Look, hullabaloo, very colorful, very simple. This looks like it's totally fat quarter friendly. It looks kind of like a jelly roll and layer cakes if I had to. Obviously, I don't know that for sure, but so sweet and colorful and kind of a great dip your toe into the world of stitching or into the world of quilting. This one is a little more complicated, but gorgeous nonetheless. It's featuring it's called the Beechwood quilt pattern. It comes with two different sizes, so that's fun, a lap size and a twin size. So you can make either one. It's got fat quarters, yards, so a little bit of combination of both. So sweet. This one, love this one. I love this one to borrow the blocks for a project bag. That's kind of my jam. It's a great quilt. It's called Crows in the Corn, which is awesome. As charted, it measures 69.5 by 77.5. It's a fat eighth. So that's super fun. So all these, they're using a Lori Holt collection of some sort. Let's see if it says. Doesn't say right here on the back. But these are all fat eighths, which that's awesome. And then you just need some extra yardage of obviously the creamy background and the crow black. You're going to need more than a fat eighth of. But it's just a sawtooth. My favorite block in the world of quilting, just in case you ever wanted to know, is a sawtooth star. So I love a good sawtooth star. And here we are combining like a sawtooth star and a log cabin. It's not necessarily a log cabin, but it's log cabin adjacent. Actually, I would just say it's log cabin. It's like a log cabin and a sawtooth star kind of like merged together, and then the little crow. But what I see, like I said, I love to just look at a quilt. If I don't want to make this whole quilt, which is probably not going to be my jam, but I totally love the idea of making a project bag with a crow on it. Beautiful autumn project bag, as well as the same with the sawtooth star. This would be such a cute like scrap buster quilt project bag. So you just make this little quilt block and turn it into a project bag. So I'm super excited about that. I definitely want to, if you don't know, like I guess 3 years ago, because that's when I started my channel, in September. Now it is only July. We'll talk about plans a little bit. Scrappy September. Don't let me forget. I wish there was a way you guys could remind me all these things that I talk about, I need to talk about. Last but not least, this one's called Morning Gatherings, designed by Kim Deal. So fabulous. This is great. It is not fat quarter friendly, just so you know. You're definitely going to need, it's got all kinds of different SKUs and requirements. So just plan ahead and check it out. But it is gorgeous. I love it. It would be really pretty. Of course, I'd probably do it in like super bright. See these pinks, right? See these fabrics right here? This is my Tulip Pink shelf. How gorgeous in the pinks and the chartreuse and the aquas. I love this. It's very autumnal. I appreciate it, but this would be more my everyday colorway. Anyway, so thank you to Fat Quarter Shop for sending me those fabulous bundles. Like I said, I'm going to throw a bunch of those into the giveaway pile for August. The confetti cannons are coming, so let's plan ahead. Make sure you like and subscribe. Ring the bell for the channel. I would love to grow and do a little combo thing. If I hit another milestone at the same time. Anyway, ooh, okay, so what's next? So this video is gonna be hopefully short and sweet. I don't know, we'll see. But so I stitched on a little bit of Mount Vernon, the George Washington thing. But then I also worked on, there was a lot of back and forth I spent a lot of time in the car, not like on long trips or anything, just going back and forth. Doesn't matter. Life's life. Anyway, so I am not one of those that rides in the car, even for like if I'm a rider, if I'm a passenger, I keep my hands busy. And so I love to have a sock project on the go that you can just go round and round. Not to the point of toes and things. That's a little above my car skill. But if I'm just going round and around on a 9-inch circular, which is my favorite way to do a sock, I can get some done. So what that means is I got my socks done. Now, if you've been here for a while, you're like, oh, I know that. This is Ruby's. Nope. Hold on. Hold on. It's here somewhere. I should have looked. It was in the bag. This is Rubies and Roses. Ruby. Hold on. I love to put my ball band inside the circle so I don't lose it. There it is. Ruby and Roses. Beautiful. She's sweet, sweet. Follow her on Instagram. It's called Calliope. And so this was a sock set I bought a while ago. If you saw my haul, I don't remember when it was. Sometime in the spring, I had a little shopping spree with Ruby and Roses. She had a drop that was just speaking to me. And obviously, this is one of the ones that spoke to me. It was a sock set. It came with more of a red orangey tone, which I love, color for the contrasting color for the sock set. That really didn't speak to me. And so we did a little vote. This was my plane. Yay, I remember. Love when things just pop back in my head. This was my travel sock when I was traveling in the beginning of May and I was on the planes going all the places. So I kitted this up and you guys voted for on Instagram what my contrast color. I love just doing vanilla socks. This is just a straight vanilla sock, round and round, 64-inch cast on, 10 round 2x2. Is this a 2x2? Looks like a 3x1 actually. 3x1 cuff. 40 rows on the leg. So it's not a shorty, but it's not a tall one. Like it's, nice in-betweener. Just enough to cover my ankle, I guess. So 40 rows and then Shelly's heel. Don't worry, it's coming. Shelly's heel and then, foot to length and then the toe. So that is my vanilla sock. Not just beautiful yarn though. Of course, the hot pink spoke to me and it's got those fun little pooling, I don't know, funny things, but it's called Calliope. It was one of her drops. So this was fun. I haven't blocked it yet, but I put on the blockers because it's easier. It's prettier to show when they're on blockers. Blockers, right? So, but the interesting part, and I feel like I want to tell you guys this because if you're new to sock knitting or if you're like thinking about jumping into the pool, you totally should. I want to do all the things. I want to do what I'm going to call it, I can't even tell you because I'm going to get in trouble for not running this by my quality control officer, aka Shelly, telling me like, don't be telling people you're going to do things before we look at your calendar and make sure you can do these things. But I just want to do all the things. So we're just going to talk about it. Whether it happens or not, this is like a little plan. So whether it happens or not, you guys aren't going to hold me to it. But I want to do like a sock along type of thing. Not because I'm not going to teach you. Like, well, anyway, Socktober. I like that. I like the ring of that. We'll see. I mean, October. What do I have going on? I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, the moral of my story was like, this is the cake of yarn that's left. And so I wanted to let you guys know. So when you buy a cake of yarn, fingering weight, sock yarn, Rubies and Roses, 100 grams, I don't know, 400-ish yards. I don't know. I'm sure the ball band says, but whatever. This is how much I have left over. And so I did, obviously, I did a contrast heel, toes, and cuffs. So there was that yardage. That was for one of my advents. I don't remember if it was the Sweet Tea Yarns advent or the Legacy Fiber Arts advent. I've done both of them. And I kind of just throw all my mini skeins from that. I love a good advent. So I just throw all my mini skeins from advents. They're in this one little bucket over here behind, under this shelf is another yarn area. So anyway, this is what we're going to do with that. But what I'm telling you is this is 61 grams of yarn. This is what I have left. So on these socks, now, of course, usually it says 100 grams. Sometimes it's more like 108. I didn't measure this one and write it in my handy day. I've got a notebook. I've got a plan, like a knitting tracking journal thing. Execution of actually using said journal / planner / note making, it's a little lacking. So I didn't measure the cake before I started. but it was supposed to be 100 grams. But let's just worst case it and say like she was super generous and was like, because you know, it's usually like a 10%, give or take, extra just for winding purposes, whatever. 10% extra just seems to be like a good rule of thumb for a lot of things when you're working. So let's just say it was 110. I'm sure it wasn't. It could have been like 107. Anyways, there's 61 left. So even if it was 110, that means I only used 50 grams to make these socks, which is, what the heck? That's awesome. So like I could just buy, and I did when I was in South Carolina, I got Shelly and I these 50 gram, because that's the only what they had. And I was like, I don't know what we're going to do with these 50 grams. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to make these socks. And as long as you use a different color contrast, then you only need 50. Like this is probably not 50. Oh, I could weigh the socks. Want to? Let's do that. How fun would that be? Live in action. Let me turn my scale on. Love a good kitchen scale. Not in the kitchen though. I mean, it's okay. So this sock is 27. Let's hope the next one is 27. This one's 26. So, you know, there's an extra gram somewhere or another. I don't know. Maybe I didn't count enough. I don't count my foot toe. I don't count my foot rows, like putting the safety. I do the safety pin counting for this part. I know there's 40 rows, but for here I have this sock ruler-y thing. So there could very well be, well, there obviously is. No, I've weaved in all my ends. They're extra. No. So one's 27, one's 26. Oh, that's okay. So let's just say 27 times 2, 54. And so there's a little bit, obviously, heels, toes, and cuffs. So it's less than 50. Less than 50 of the main color, which is awesome. So I could either make 2 pairs of socks, which is not what I'm going to do. So that's awesome. Oh, I can't wait. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Whether like maybe we come up with some kind of like sock swapping thing where if you have 50 grams and you swap, I don't know. Anywho, finish some socks. That's exciting. I do want to, this is, I got to get my Swift and my winder out. These are going to be my 4th of July sock start. You know, I don't know how many sock whips I have going on, but nothing says patriotic 4th of July time to me than starting a new sock. So I'm just intrigued. Like, what is this going to look like? I don't know. And this is actually the red that came with the Ruby and Roses. So that could have been pretty. Not what I went for, but I thought it was perfect for this. So I'm going to do heels, toes, and cuffs in this beautiful color. And then this is going to be my main color. So I'm going to cake that up so I can start it on July 4th. That's fun. Have another sock whip because, you know, I need to always have one that I can grab and go. So that's that. Let's just dive right into what's left. Okay, so I did want to just show you this. This was, just because I told you, wow, this was $5. We went antique sailing, like, I don't know, 2-3 weekends ago. I've got a goal. I've got a project. I need another project like a hole in the head. But anywho, while I was looking for the other things, this was not what I was looking for. But I could not pass it up. It was $5 and it's full of all kinds. Look at the wooden spools and the dude. It was just adorable. And the man that was sitting there, he's like, that was fresh from grandma's house. And so I live, you know, where I live, there's a lot of retired people. There's some great estate sales. But this was more of like a flea market-y type estate sale, but it was super cute. So I couldn't pass it up. I am going to go through and find the treasures and then I'll just find some place to hang it. It's got a nice little hook. So I'll just hang it in my sewing room. It was just sweet and antique. I thought it'd be fun. Little sewing room decoration. So that's fun. Okay. So I've got 2 more things. 2 more, not 4 more to show you. All right. So the last 2 things I have to show you are, one is this week on Patreon, I dropped an exclusive chart just as a thank you for my Tiger Cub Patreon members. Like, I know I've kind of been MIA for a while because there's been a lot of life happening and I don't feel like life is slowing down here for the next month or 2. Maybe in August, I'll just be sitting around eating bonbons. Oh, the days when I can just sit around and eat bonbons. Yeah, not today. But in the meantime, what I've done, if you don't know, so this was my first drop on Patreon. It was a sweet little, I called it the Tiger Spring Basket. I didn't bring the chart to show you guys, but this was sweet. And I just loved it. So because I love these tins and just putting them in, I'll be honest, a lot of them go in both bags. They go in my knitting bag and hold stitch markers and my tapestry needle and the little tiny baby, super baby cutie pie Kohana scissors. Love those because they fit right here on the tin. So I love to have a tin you can hear there's a tin in there, right? That has stitch mark, all the things. I love to have a project tin in both my knitting bags as well as at least a couple, not in all my cross stitch WIP bags because that would be a little excessive. Hence this project library right here. No, but in the current ones, like if I'm going to take something to go, if I'm going to travel, or if I'm going to basically travel, if I'm going to travel, I like to have, sometimes I'll take a retreat. I'd have a whole retreat kit with all the things. But if I'm just going to travel for a day or two, I don't need a whole retreat setup. Just making sure I have, whether it's a monochromatic stitch, I'll put a magnet in the bottom of the tin and then just thread up 6 needles at a time. That's my favorite thing to do with one of these things. But also just having bits and bobs and things in your bag or in your purse, whatever. Anyway, so this was the first chart I did. Well, this week on Patreon, I dropped this one. Now, hopefully, let's see if so you can see, hopefully, so the tomato kind of is a two-tone color. There's two different shades of red. I kind of wish that I had stitched, now I'm going to stitch this again so I can make my dream come true, that I had stitched the lighter red in a lighter color so it was a little more like obvious. You could see the texture that I created, but this was my own chart. I love a good tomato. I love good, one of my favorite things to do when I'm antiquing is to go, you always open, you never walk by a sewing basket. No, you never walk by a sewing basket because there could be the unicorn queen hoop in there. I've heard stories, tall tales, although I know them to be true because they're my friends. Why would they tell me a tall tale? But that these things can be found randomly in sewing baskets or when you're at a flea market or a thrift store, a garage store, whatever. And you find, you never walk by a sewing basket. You never know what you're going to find. Just like I didn't walk by this. Now I knew there wasn't going to be a queen hoop in here, but I didn't know what was going to be in here. I've looked. There's nothing like, I won the lottery type thing in there, but it's super fun. Anyway, there's always, usually, this didn't have it. Probably because the drawers aren't big enough. A tomato pin cushion. That was just one of those quintessential things that you put in your sewing basket. So we all love a good tomato, right? It's tomato season. I just got some tomatoes from from one of my friend's gardens. So fun. So this is an homage to both the tomato pin cushion as well as tomato season. Anyway, so I created this because, in case you didn't know, I've got a few of Lily's Corner lotion bars popping around my house. You know, when your daughter starts an Etsy shop, you support her and you buy all the things, right? So I have a few of these tins. And I'm like, well, of course, I have to repurpose everything. So I decided I needed another chart to go with my tin collection. So like I said, this is a chart that I popped on Patreon. So this is the cover. And then it comes charted up, right? It's just a sweet stitch it as you want. It's a 5-color stitch, but that's available. So I'm going to link down below for my Patreon. So that was something that I was stitching on this week. So I wanted to show you that. And then last but not least, I'm just going to talk about this briefly here because there's going to be a whole separate video. Woo! You like that little dance? There's going to be a whole separate video on this one. But I committed to getting to this far done because what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the Grumpy Susan quilt along. Now, if it's your first time here, welcome. Shelly and I, antique needleworkers, did a combination when I was at her house for StitchCon. Feels like forever ago. Too long ago, sometime in June, we were together. We did a video in person and we talked about how we were working on Grumpy Susan's quilt along. Grumpy Susan is my great-great-grandmother. I didn't bring the quilt down because the moral of the story is there's going to be a longer video introducing the Grumpy Susan quilt. I'm going to give you a little 30-second story tell now, just in case you've never for the first time hearing about it. So we I picked up a quilt when I was visiting family in May, and it was a beautiful antique vintage heirloom hand-pieced hexagon quilt. The hexies are like tiny little quarter-size hexies. Nobody's got time to be hand quilting 7,000 hexies. So we adapted, we zigged, we zagged. We have moved up to 1.5 inch hexies. That's what these are. They'll be linked down below for my Amazon. You can get them in Amazon. We're paper piecing. It's EPP, English paper piecing. And so we have decided we're going to use, so Grumpy Susan was my great grandmother. And the reason we call her Grumpy is because there's one picture I have of her that I've, born in 1868 or something. So there's not a lot of family pictures flown around. The one I do have, and I've shown it to you guys here before, is Susan with 10 of her 13 kids. She looks grumpy. So we love her. I love it. We're calling it the Grumpy Susan QAL. QA, yeah, that's the hashtag. Anyway, so we talked about how Shelly and I were doing it together back in that video. I will link that video down below too. So we talked about that and we invited you guys to join. And then subsequently, we've kind of morphed this into a little bit more organized. Now, caveat, asterisk, star, all the things right here. We are doing this with you. My procedure on everything else that I do as a pattern, or I do as a chart, or I do as a something to share with you, I prototype it first. So I can work out any kinks. I can make sure quality control, like that's a big thing. This is 1,000 hexagons. I'm just going to be real with you. This is over 1,000 hexagons. So if you had to wait for me to quality control and make sure my math was right, you would be doing this in maybe 2030. I don't know. So we've decided that we're going to do this as a quilt along. But like I said, asterisk right here. I have created, so step one is I have gotten almost one flower. Now, why is this almost one flower? Because here's a picture. Here's there we go. Okay, you see? So it's, there's a flower and then there's a green around it. But there's only a green around every other one. You see how they share the greens? Okay, but so that's the point where I'm at. I'm at the part where we have centers. Again, there's going to be a more detailed video. The inner ring, the outer ring, the whites, and the greens. So when we were there together, we roughly decided, and again, this is a rough, there's no exact timeline. We're doing this as we go. This is fun. Is one flower a month, give or take. Now there's 18 flowers. There's 4 half flowers. So tentatively, there's 22 flowers in this quilt. But I've gotten one quilt block, one flower. I'm going to call this one done. Now I do need, here's the greens. The greens need to go on there. So it's not necessarily done, but I wanted to get it to the point right now where I could show it on my video. So what does that mean? So also, I this week worked on this measurement guide. And so with this quilt along, Shelly and I are going to be bouncing you back between her channel and my channel. Meaning I'm going to talk about one thing, step one, and then a week, 2 weeks, a month, at some point later down the road, Shelly will talk about the next thing. And then we'll bounce back to me and you get it? We're going to bounce a little bit. But it's going to be fun. So the moral of the story is step one is getting your materials, right? And understanding how many of the materials you needed. Now, we talked briefly about this when we were together. Very rough, especially get your EPP papers is where we were because I had not done the math. This week I have sat down, did the math, created a downloadable fabric requirement, kind of easy to go template. This is available for free on my Patreon. You do not have to be a paying member on Patreon to get this download. It was just the easiest place for me to put this PDF so you can get it without having to email me or email Shelly or check out on my website. This was just the easiest way. So all you have to do is join my Patreon as a free member, which is, there's all different levels of Patreon. And that's where you can get this PDF download. And again, I will have next week, it's probably going to be out Monday or Tuesday, the details of the quilt along video. And I will be going over video 1 of the Grumpy Susan quilt along And that's going to be talking in depth regarding the fabric requirements, what you need to procure. Don't worry, you're not behind. I'm only one block in. And let me tell you something, we'll just dive right into it. My July is bonkers. We're going to dive right into my plans just real quick, and then I'll let you go. So my July is bonkers. The end of the story. So this is going to be my July box. So you got plenty of time to catch up. No worries. I don't even know where Shelly is. When I saw her last, I think she was like halfway on this scrappy circle. So you still have a whole nother white. It's all, I mean, when you're making and you are a multiple maker or multiple craft, but when you balance between knitting and quilting and cross stitching, of course, there's only so many hours in the day until you're just like retired and eating bonbons, right? Anywho, so there's going to be plenty of time for you to catch up, and we'll talk together and kind of organically come up with a soft schedule. Again, this is fun. This is use the hashtag GrumpySusanQAL. If you're doing an EPP project together, you don't have to do the whole quilt. You can do a table runner. You can do whatever you want, just a pillow. Anywho, that's coming finally. I know we promised it a couple weeks ago, but yeah. Anyway, July is bonkers for me. So that is why I will not probably be touching that this month. I've got the July Keeper Club, which is going to be shipping out. Also, spoiler, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right here. There are extra boxes there's extra spots in the Keeper Club, and I'm going to be offering them to Patreon first. So this is going to go up on Saturday. I'm going to say Sunday night. Yeah, there you go. Now you know. Sunday night. So hopefully you saw this video before then. If not, hopefully you're already a Patreon member. And if not, join my Patreon would be my suggestion to you if you want to be in the Keeper Club, because that is where I'm going to offer any extra spots that are extra. I'm going to offer it to them first as a thank you. So the next opportunity, if you missed the July one, the next opportunity will be for the October one. I can't guarantee right now. There's no spots. I don't know. I don't know till I know. So there's that. There's also a couple left of the Advent boxes. So if you have been thinking about jumping into the Tiger Lily Advent box, there are still a handful left. So that link is down below too. But in the meantime, I'm not going to give into my full July schedule. The one thing I'm going to tell you about that I'm super excited about is I will be traveling for multiple weeks, going to basically two places, Clemson and Florida. How long I'm in each? We'll see. But that's so I'm trying to get a bunch of stuff done that's studio work and boxes out and all the things. And then so I will be what am I doing in Florida? I'm going to be at Stitch, Florida. Alicia from Fanciful Flamingo is hosting her first retreat, and I'm so excited. And I'm going to teach cording, so that's fun. But I'm also going to be vending for the first time. I used to vend all the Tiger Lily designs. Used to do artisan shows. Prior to YouTube, prior to Flosstube, all the things, I would do artisan shows, markets and things, holiday shows, and had a 10 by 10 booth, and I did all the things. Loved it. Haven't done it since Christmas of 19. You know why, 2020. But I haven't done it since. So it's not a full 10 by 10 booth. I have to see how big my table is, but I am going to be selling in person, vending some Tiger Lily exclusive products at Stitch, Florida. So if you're coming to Stitch, Florida, get excited. You get to see Tiger Lily stuff in person. Lots of exclusive. I'm looking over there because there's vintage stitching keepers all over the sewing machine right now. I've been teasing some of the stuff on Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen some of the stories teasing. Yes, I did. I just couldn't help myself. I had to cut in to my super important to me, but this was worth it. Tula Pink Flamingo fabric. I mean, if there was ever a time to cut into your Tula Pink bolt of flamingo fabric that you've been, I won't use the word hoarding, saving for that special occasion, well, this is a special occasion. So I'm super excited. I shared some of those sometime this week when I was working on them. Anyway, lots of fun stuff. I'm going to have lots of things at Stitch, Florida. And and anything that I have left over, if I do, bring it home, and I'm going to throw it on Patreon first. So that'll be sometime, I don't know, August. Like I said, July is going to be a whirlwind. July is going to be just a working from sun up until sundown. Actually, not even sun up and sun. Yeah, that's good. Summertime, it's up and long days, long hours, all the things. But I love it. I love it. I love getting the box. Oh my gosh, this July box. I feel like I say that all the time. The July box. It is extra special. You'll see why when you get it. But oh my goodness, I can't wait for this one to get out. Okay, so that is what I've got for you guys today. Short, sweet, not that much stitching. Sorry about that. I did a lot of other making, so some stuff. I will try to be back, well, next Friday. Yeah, I'm not going away for July 4th. I don't go away till 10th or 11th of July. So I at least have another Friday. We'll circle back on my schedule. Christmas in July. I need to get into that, but who's got time to go digging through these project libraries and find the Christmas stitching? I want to do Christmas and July stitching. I want to finish an ornament or two at least. Ugh, time. Anybody know how I can get some of that to add to my Amazon cart? I need some. All right, friends, but until next time, happy quilting, happy knitting, happy making, happy hooking, happy all the things. And I'll see you next time, friends. Happy stitching.